Hello and welcome to the irelandsdg.geohive.ie website. This website provides access to almost 100 layers of geostatistical data relating to Sustainable Development Goal indicators. Ireland's progress against each goal is measured using a set of globally agreed indicators, and here you can search for, discover and visualize the data we use to create those indicators. On this site, the data can be visualized and explored, and it can also be downloaded in a variety of formats or expressed through a set of open APIs. Sustainable Development Goals are internationally agreed goals, and they are represented here via a series of tiles or icons. Each tile covers a particular category of goal. By clicking on any of the tiles, you can access the data that we have used to create an indicator for that goal. You can also use the Find Data option to search for a particular data set that may be of interest to you, and any data set corresponding to that tag will be presented. Here I'm going to select Goal 8, Decent Work and Economic Growth. This will present all data in the catalogue for Goal 8. The catalogue page has a viewer that lets you visualize the data and a listing of different data variables that we have compiled in support of monitoring Ireland's progress against Goal 8. Spatial data sets are available at a variety of geographies or resolutions, depending on what we have been able to compile for a particular indicator. For example, if I select Administrative County in the tags, we will see only data that is available at administrative county level. And if I click on SDG 8.5.2, we can see a map presented to us with colour coding, in this case representing the percentage of unemployed females across administrative counties in Ireland. We also get a graph of the distribution of that data. By clicking on any of the data cards, I get a different variable, in this case unemployed males, and that may show a different pattern. Once I have selected a data set as well as the map, I also get a data tab that allows me to visualize the data in tabular form, and page by page, depending on how many records are in my record set. And as well as that, I get an API Explorer that allows me programmatically connect to the data using a REST or GeoJSON interface. This allows me to build up a query, and then I can hit the query URL to retrieve the data relevant to that query via the REST interface in GeoJSON, which programmers can use in their JavaScript enabled websites. I'm going to go back to the Overview tab and back to the catalogue. I'm going to select the same data, but this time at electoral division geography, which is a higher resolution geography. And again, I'm selecting percentage of unemployed females. Now I can use the map to zoom in to a particular area and see in greater detail the spatial pattern or distribution of that variable in any given area. In this case, the deeper the red colour, the higher the percentage of unemployed females. I can also go to the Data tab and say, in this case, I'm only interested in a filter on some of the data. I can filter by county, for example, Dublin, and both the table and the map will respond to only show the filtered data sets. And if I go to the Download tab, I can either download the full data set or the filtered data set for those EDs. I'm just going to clear that filter. by pressing the X button. Going back to the Overview tab, I can also choose to create a web map in ArcGIS Online using the data that I have selected. Once in the ArcGIS Online viewer, we can use Esri's smart mapping technology to visualize the data in a number of different ways. So in this case, I've got one attribute, percentage of unemployed females, selected. And I might want to use smart mapping, the options, to illustrate a particular point about this data. For example, I might want to pick a theme of above and below, which shows values above and below some key value that I'm interested in. So in this case, the key value that I'm interested in is a percentage of 6.1, which is the current national unemployment rate. And I can type that in, and the distribution changes me to show me in dark purples areas which have increasing amounts of female unemployment above 6.1%, or in the lighter red color, the darker red colors, areas that have decreasing female unemployment below the 6.1%. I'm just going to cancel out of that and go back to my original representation of the data, and I'm going to add an attribute. In this case, I might be interested in the percentage of unemployed females, but also the magnitude of unemployed females at any given location. So I'm going to select two attributes, the first one being the percentage and the second one being the actual amount of unemployed females. And in this case, you can see the system has picked up that it's trying to display two different variables, and it's selected a style, both color and size, that enables me to visualize that type of data. So here I have the percentage of unemployed females in color and the size or the magnitude of unemployed females in a circle, a graduated circle. And this allows me to quickly visualize where there are hotspots of unemployed females across my geography. This sort of visualization can be much more informative and visually arresting than simply presenting a choropleth map such as this. Although the same patterns are visible in both, the use of both color and size gives an extra dimension to show how concentrated unemployment might be in a particular area. So far I've been concentrating on one attribute in one variable, in one theme, in one goal. However, if we go back to the main site, we can see by going to the Find Data section and just searching that we've actually got almost 100 different layers of geostatistical information here across a wide range of goals. We don't yet have information for every goal, that will come over time, but we have quite a good coverage. To date, we've provided data for 12 of the 17 indicators, those between 1 and 9 and those between 15 and 17 inclusive. We hope that you can find this data, visualize it and use it as I've shown to inform policy decisions that you may need to make, or create informative web maps to share with your colleagues. As well as web maps that present data in map form, we've also created a number of example story maps. Story maps combine maps and data in an interactive multimedia website that allow you to explore a particular goal. In this case, I'm going to just click on one of these story maps to show you the type of thing that can be achieved. This web map explores the legacy of the recession across Ireland and is focused on goal numbers 1 and 8, which are 1, zero poverty, and 8, decent work and economic growth, which is the type of variable around unemployment rates, etc., that we've been looking at so far in the presentation. You can see that as I scroll down through the website, it starts to display maps that relate to the narrative that I have on the left-hand side. These maps are interactive maps that are being generated dynamically from the data. So I can zoom and pan as I would with any other web map, and I can click on any of my polygons to access the variable for that particular variable in that area. Story maps are a very arresting way of telling a story about the data that you want the viewer to interact with. So rather than just presenting the viewer with a wealth of data and letting them come to their own conclusions, you can guide them through the story to a particular conclusion that's supported by the data that you have and the data that we've compiled for a particular indicator. Over the coming months, and indeed years, we will be adding data to this site. As we monitor progress against the goals, we anticipate that we will generate many more layers of statistical data that we will fuse with geography to enable you to create maps. And we invite other people, third parties, to join us in this effort and help us create story maps to explain a particular aspect of the data that you feel may be of interest to government, non-government organisations or the general public. Thank you very much.